are going to discuss the question from signals and systems given in GATE 2004 from the LTI systems. So here the impulse response h of n of a linear time invariant system is given as h of n equals to minus 2 square root of 2, that is for n equals to 1 and minus 1, and for n equals to 2 and minus 2 it is 4 root 2 and 0 for otherwise. Then if the input to the above system is the sequence e power j pi n by 4, then the output of the system is. So now we are going to find the output of the system given the h of n and the input. So coming to the solution here, given that h of n equals to having the value magnitude that is 4 root 2 at 2 and 4 root 2 at this is 4 at n equals to minus 2 and 2 and minus 2 root 2 at n equals to 1 and minus 1 and 0 for otherwise. Then we have only the values at this position. Then we can write this h of n as 4 root 2 at minus 2 position, this is at minus 2 position, and minus 2 root 2 at minus 1 position, and at 0th position the given it as 0 for otherwise the values of n, and at 1 it is given as minus 2 root 2, and at 2 it is given as 4 root 2. So this is the 0th position. Then we know that we can write the given sequence as the weighted sum of the impulses. Then we can write this h of n as 4 root 2, this is at the minus 2 position, then it is del of n plus 2, I am writing minus 2 root 2 is the amplitude at minus 1, so del of n plus 1, and 0 amplitude at n equals to 0, so no need to write minus 2 root 2 at del of n minus 1 plus 4 root 2 at n equals to 2, so del of n minus 2. So that's what the h of n here. Now given that h of x of n equals to, given that x of n equals to e power, given that x of n equals to e power j pi n by 4. Now we need to find that given h of n and x of n, we need to find the output of the system. We know that the system with input x of n having the impulse response h of n and output y of n, and given that the system is an LTI, we can find the output y of n taking the convolution between x of n and h of n. So now we need to apply the convolution between x of n and h of n, that is e power j pi n by 4 convoluted with h of n, that is h of n, that we have an expression. So here the h of n is in terms of impulse function, impulse sequence. Then we know that x of n, some x of n is convoluted with del of n, that is always equals to x of n only. Like that the shift shifted x of n is convoluted with the shifted impulse function del of n plus k, then it becomes x of n plus k. If it is x of n convoluted with del of n minus k, it becomes x of n minus k only. Then by applying this rule here, we know that y of n equals to e power j pi n by 4 convoluted with h of n is nothing but that is 4 root 2 del of n plus 2 minus 2 root 2 del of n plus 1 minus 2 root 2 del of n minus 1 plus 4 root 2 del of n minus 2. Then we can write this as, by convolving this e power j pi n by 4 with del of n plus 2, we will get this as 4 root 2 into e power j pi by 4 of n plus 2 minus 2 root 2 into this becomes e power j pi by 4 of n plus 1, and this becomes 2 root 2 into e power j pi by 4 of n minus 1 plus 4 root 2 into e power j pi by 4 of n minus 2. So we will get the final expression for y of n like this. Now by simplifying this, we will get the answer in simplified form. Then we know out of these two terms, take the 4 root 2 as common, then we will get e power j pi by 4 of n plus 2 is one term, plus e power j pi by 4 of n minus 2 is the another term. Taking the minus 2 root 2 as common from these two terms, we will get e power j pi by 4 of n plus 1 plus e power j pi by 4 of n minus 1. So now we can take the 4 root 2 into e power j pi by 4 n as common, pi by 4 n as common, then it becomes e power j pi by 4 into 2 plus e power j pi by 4 into minus 3 is another term, minus 2 root 2 of taking the e power minus j pi by 4 n as common, it becomes e power j pi by 4 plus e power minus j pi by 4. Then here this becomes e power j pi by 2, and this becomes e power j minus pi by 2. Then this is 4 root 2 into e power j pi by 4 n of e power j pi by 2 is nothing but cos pi by 2 0, sin pi by 2 is 1, then it is j, plus e power j minus pi by 2 is nothing but cos pi by 2 minus j sin pi by 2, cos pi by 2 0, and this becomes minus j, so both are get cancelled and the total value becomes 0, minus 2 root 2 of e power j pi by 4 n of, this is e power j pi by 4 plus e power minus j pi by 4. Then we can write this as 2 cos pi by 4. Then this value is 0 here. Then we got this as minus 2 root 2 into e power j pi n by 4 into 2 into cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. So root 2 will get cancelled, and finally we'll get minus 4 into e power j pi n by 4. That's what the final answer we got after simplifying. So we can observe that the option D is the